My name is Jean van Sinderen-Law. I'm the Director of Development and Alumni Relations at University College Cork, Ireland. The Great Book of Ireland is a compilation of the works of 140 Irish poets and 120 Irish artists, 9 composers. Every page of the book is on vellum. Each artist and poet was asked but one thing: please convey your hopes, joys, fears, loves in being an Irish man or woman at the turn of the Second Millennium. To quote the former President of Ireland, Mary Robinson, it's the Book of Kells of the Second Millennium. It's a book with an amazing story, which began in 1989 when Theo Dorgan of Poetry Ireland and Eugene Lambert of the Closhganna Mills Trust, 2 individuals, outstanding individuals, representing 2 charities in Ireland, one which looks after poets and the second charity which looks after artists who through injury or illness can no longer conduct their work. So these 2 charities raise money to help poets in the first instance and artists in the second instance. So Theo and Eugene came together and said, how are we going to raise money for our 2 charities? And one looked at the other and said, why don't we get an Irish poet to write a poem, and why don't we get an Irish artist to illustrate it? And then we'll make posters and sell those posters. Well, out of that tiny idea grew the Great Book of Ireland. And as you read through the pages of that book, there are 136 pages. What comes to life are these emotions portrayed by the artists and the poets. There are outstanding contributors in the Great Book of Ireland, such as Samuel Beckett. And even the story which results in Samuel Beckett contributing to the Great Book of Ireland is remarkable, because Samuel Beckett was on his deathbed, we learn, in Paris in 1990, and he was asked by an individual, John Montague, a great Irish poet, to contribute to the Great Book of Ireland. And the vellum had been sent over to him. And Montague stood beside Beckett's bedside, and said, will you contribute to the Great Book of Ireland? And he said, who's this guy, Theo Dorgan, the editor? And Montague said, he's a good guy, so why don't you just contribute to the Great Book of Ireland? And Samuel Beckett, we are told, was lying flat in his bed and pillows propped behind him. And he took a pen in his hand and he attempted to write. And he put a line through it. He attempted a second time. And on the 5th attempt, he wrote 4 lines, now an integral part of the Great Book of Ireland. And those 4 lines are a poem which he had composed in the early 70s on the day that his father died. And it's called Da Tagta Ez. And the 4 lines are: redeem the surrogate goodbyes who have no more for the land, the sheet a stream in your hand and the glass unmisted above your eye. Samuel Beckett. He composed that poem in the early 70s, I think it was 1973, and the difference between the poem he composed in 73 and his contribution to the Great Book of Ireland is he juxtaposed the second and the third sentence. And when he finished that, John Montague said, well, thank you very much. And Beckett said, well, that's done. And he threw the pen aside and he gave Montague the vellum sheet. And to our knowledge, they are the last written words of Samuel Beckett, because 2 weeks later he passed away. So it's incredibly poignant. On the opposite page of the book, then, you've got a stunning portrait of the face of the dying Beckett by Louis Le Brocq. And that's just 2 pages of the Great Book of Ireland. And there are contributors from just outstanding people, both in the English language and in the Irish language. The themes which emerge from the Great Book of Ireland are themes which are very much associated with Irish identity. What does it mean to be Irish? Our love of the land, our passion for the landscape, our family spirit, our hopes and feelings in being a mother or a father. Conflict emerges from the pages as well. And of course, they were very, very troubled times in Ireland. The demise of the landscape comes to the fore. And I suppose if one was to reflect in toto, you'd have to say it really is the beauty of the landscape. Every page is interesting and colourful and lively. University College Cork is going to acquire this book for eventual public display and scholarly investigation. We want the students, the staff and the students of this university to browse the pages of the Great Book of Ireland and in so doing give us an object understanding of Irish identities. It's just one way of getting that understanding. When we acquire the book, which is within the next number of months. We want to bring it to different places to share and celebrate the wonder of this modern Irish manuscript. We're bringing it to Chicago on the Wednesday the 20th of October. It will be exhibited at the Union League Club between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. That event is kindly hosted by one of our graduates, an individual by the name of Devin Bruce, who's a Chicago based lawyer, and his wife Yvonne. We will exhibit it between 6 and 9, and we are inviting people to come and view the Great Book of Ireland. Theo Dorgan, the editor of the Great Book of Ireland, because it was produced between 1989 and 1991, and Theo, as I mentioned earlier, was the then editor. He is going to be there, and he is going to speak about the magical journey of the Great Book of Ireland, its renowned contributors and its key messages. This book helps us, the Irish people, to understand who it is we are, where we've come from, and hopefully where we are going. But it is a model of how anybody can understand their own identity. And again, in Chicago, as you know, the Irish have made an enormous impact on the evolution of the city, and there are a lot of Irish Americans there. But anybody who has an interest in who they are and where they've come from and where they are going will find something in the Great Book of Ireland. In addition, anybody who has an interest in art or in literature will find it absolutely intriguing. The book is encased in a box made with elm, which was of a tree planted by William Butler Yeats at Tour-Ballylea. The tree was felled, the box was made, and the box is inlaid with bog oak, 3,000 years old. It is just a beautiful thing to see, and I go so far as saying an incredible thing to experience. And there is an experience associated with viewing the Great Book of Ireland.